Let's take a look at a few more tools that we can use when working on the timeline. If I hover over any of these tools, you'll see its keyboard shortcut come up. For example, the razor tool shows the letter C, while the selection tool, or some people call it the move tool, shows the letter V. As I hover over this clip and press the C key, I can start using the razor blade tool immediately without having to click on the tool first. And if I hit the V key now for the selection tool, or again move, I can click on that and you'll see it turns to a pointer that will allow me to work with any of the clips the way that I need to. Additionally to this, if you happen to have made a cut that you didn't mean to make, of course you can hit the undo key, or if you happen to discover it later, you can right mouse click and join those through edits just by clicking between the two clips. And you'll see it puts that clip right back together the way that it was. Another great tool is the Ripple Edit tool, keyboard shortcut B. This will allow me to go in between two clips, and pulling either left or pulling right, I can go ahead and adjust the clip without making a gap. And you'll notice it turns yellow to tell me that it's going to go ahead and fill in that gap for me, or ripple. So as I pull this clip a little to the left, I can actually see what's going on in sort of a trim view in the program monitor and let this go. And I can also do the same thing for the following clip and push it forward as I scrub and see right where I want him to go ahead and be in that frame, and let it go, and it makes the adjustment for me. And now I can just go ahead and scrub right through that and see what my timing looks like. One of my favorite tools to use is the rate stretch tool, and I'm going to scroll down the timeline and find a clip that looks to be a little long, and when I scroll through it I see I'd like to have all of that action. I would just like it to be a little bit faster. So by grabbing the rate stretch tool, or again the keyboard shortcut R, all I have to do is just pull this a little bit and it's actually going to make it run a lot faster, but it kept all of the frames in the scene. And at this point, all I have to do is grab my pointer tool, click between these two clips, and I'll press delete and fill in that gap, and I'll play it back. Rate stretch is something I use all the time. Let's go ahead and learn to apply some effects. What I'm going to do is clear out my search window so I have all of my folders and effects presented for me, so when I flip these open, all of the effects will show instead of being filtered by the search. So I'm going to go to my effects. We have lots of different subfolders with additional effects in each one. I'm going to go down to stylize and take a look and see what's in here. Let's move the playhead back here, and I'm going to go and apply Find Edges and see what that looks like. Now over in the effects control panel, if your effects are not active, all you have to do is click on the effects controls tab and then click on your clip. You'll see the effect Find Edges applied. I'm going to click the invert button so I sort of get him on a darker background and scrub through this and see what it looks like. And some of the effects are really cool and can be used in all different ways for openers and credit rolls and things like that. And you have lots of different choices where you can blend this with the original just to sort of put the effect on a little softer, a little harder. And again, just by going over the hot text back and forth until you have the adjustment that you want. You can also click on it and hit the arrow key up or the arrow key down to apply that adjustment exactly the way you want it. To turn an effect off or on, make sure the clip is selected. Go to your effects control panel, find the effect you're looking for. In this case, it's Find Edges, and I can click on it to put a slash through the FX. That means the effect is no longer applied. Or I can click on it again to turn the effect on. And if I just want to delete it, I can select it and then hit the delete key, and now the effect has been removed from the clip. One place where effects is used a lot is adjusting color. We've made this really easy by creating a workspace called Color, so I'm going to go ahead and select that now. And you'll notice that the workspace changed. It actually shows me what we call our Lumetri scopes for my different color values, and presented a whole new panel off to the right hand side that allows me to adjust the color without having to have another panel open. Many of the controls that you'll find in here are really easy to use and very similar if you're familiar with Photoshop or Lightroom. But to make it easier, we've actually given you the ability just to click through a bunch of different presets or looks and you just click on either one of these arrows until you find a setting that looks like it's going to work for your scene. For example, this blue day for night, I can just click on this and you see it's now applied this and my water is really blue. If I like that, I can just leave it as is, or I could use some of the controls in here to lighten the intensity up here just a little bit. I have basic color correction tools up here where I might want to deal with my exposure a little bit. And as I mentioned before, you can click into an effect and use your arrow keys to go up or your arrow keys to go down to dial the exposure up or down. And again, you can use your command key on Mac or control key on Windows to adjust this effect by tenths to get the exact look that you're looking for. You'll find that it really helps you to work incredibly fast. In this case, I might want to bring out a little bit of this shadow detail that's underneath his board here, and I might just want to bring this up a little bit so I can start to see some of those graphics. I think you'll find these tools fairly intuitive, and at this point you should have a pretty good idea of how to use some additional editing tools on the timeline, as well as some new ways to apply effects and an intro to the Lumetri color panel.